How's it going, guys? Little Regret 265 here, and today I'll be continuing my new series called the GT Sport Ultimate Assist Guide. Now it's going to be exactly what it sounds like, a deep dive into how all the assists work on the game in full detail, and how they can be utilized to your benefit in order to lower your lap times, make your gameplay experience more enjoyable, and turn you into a better driver. Control. If you take one word away from this video, I'd like for it to be control. I've been talking about retaining focus and reducing the workload for the driver in the last couple of episodes, but now I'm going to get into the nitty-gritty, the assists that help you retain control and potentially can add speed to your operation. On top of that, most of these are used in certain forms of real racing, such as GT3 cars. Today we'll be touching on TCS, and while a lot of people will already be familiar, I want to try and be as comprehensive as possible here. TCS, shown in the driving options menu as traction control, helps you retain control of the car by limiting the power to the driven wheels. Like most other games, sims, and a lot of real cars on the road, it detects the grip level of each wheel, and if it notices a lack of grip, it will cut down a percentage of the power output depending on how much slip it detects. It will keep doing this until the car is back under control. Fairly straightforward, I hope, no pun intended. This setting is individual to every car and will affect every car in a slightly different way based on its drive layout and characteristics, so you'll have to experiment with your desired car and remember to change the setting to your desired value for every new car that you drive. There are a couple of nuances to the system, and you'll notice two distinct things when the system is active. The TCS light, generally on the right side of your HUD, should be solid white to show that it is armed, and become red when it's active. More noticeable than that, you'll see on your throttle position indicator that part of the bar will turn red. This is to show you how much power the traction control is cutting at any given moment. The more red the bar is, the more power is being cut to maintain your traction. The TCS, or traction control system, has 6 settings, ranging from 0 to 5. As you can imagine, 0 means there is no traction control active. You have to carefully control your throttle in order to avoid wheel spin and keep the car going as fast as possible. Setting 1 is very light traction control, requiring you to be careful, and setting 5 is very heavy TC, where you don't have to worry as much about how you hit the accelerator. The higher the number, the more assistance you'll receive. Remember that TCS will still allow the car to get loose if you throw it into the corner too hard. It only limits the power after it gets loose to make sure you don't understeer or spin out. Generally, if the car breaks traction, front-wheel drive cars tend to understeer, rear-wheel drives tend to oversteer, and four-wheel drive is going to depend on the car, though understeer is more common for those. Naturally, TC has a lot of uses just in keeping you under control and letting you focus on exiting the corner as fast as possible. This may just be the first assist to turn on if you're spinning the tires too much with your car of choice. It's also very useful for grid starts, keeping the car accelerating as fast as possible without wheel spin, and is often the strategy of choice for top-level drivers when a grid start is involved. Now you may have noticed by now that there's an element on my HUD for most of the video up to this point, the Tcs Adjustment. And unlike most assists, TCS can be adjusted dynamically on the fly while you're racing. This presents an entirely new set of opportunities, as you can have different TC settings for different sections of the track. Two of the most common scenarios you'll see are drivers setting the TC on for the most optimal grid starts and altering it afterward, or drivers turning up the traction control as the tires start to wear down more, though that last one is not a solution that I particularly recommend. So the pattern that's been developing is that the car tends to perform better without assists, and for the most part this holds true here as well. TC doesn't always allow you to accelerate as quickly when it's active because it cuts your power, and in order to get faster through the mid-corner and corner exits, you have to train your pedal movements to be smooth on the accelerator, as a good driver will be better than the TC system. Practice with lower values 2 and 3 are good starting points for me personally, and find your sweet spot in the car, which might take some trial and error. When you're trying lower TC settings or no TC, take your normal routine until you get to the middle of the turn. From there, slowly and smoothly press down the accelerator to about mid-throttle or until you see and feel the car start to break traction. If it gets loose, back off the pedal and smoothly start to get back on power. Balance it near the limit, and once you can straighten up the steering, smoothly get up to full power. It's never perfect right away, but just keep trying to make progress until you have the car under control lap after lap. If you can't seem to get it, there's no shame in turning up the TC a little bit until you get more experienced. I will add that most of the fast laps you're going to see are going to be set with traction control either off or set to setting 1 in some rare cases. This is because that extra bit of control allows for faster corner exits that can save a tenth or two out of a slow corner, and all of that time over a lap really adds up. Setting 1 also behaves fairly differently than all the others, as it doesn't invade anywhere near as much as levels 2 and higher. It simply maintains traction getting up to speed and keeps the car partially under control out of turns, though not entirely. I can't quite explain it, though I'll give a quick visual demonstration and ask you to try it out for yourself when you feel ready. You'll notice on that last clip on TCS 0 I didn't get a great exit, but I still was able to carry speed out of the turn. This time around on TCS 1, even though I'm a little bit blocked off by the other cars, I get a little bit sideways but still manage a good exit, probably the best one in that session. But when you look at this final clip where I'm on TCS 3, I'm a little bit more conservative through the corners. I have cars ahead, but I set myself up for a beautiful line here, and the traction control intervenes right when I want to jump on the power. It really forces me to kind of wait, and I lose time that I could have easily gained just by having a little bit of wheel spin. Maintaining control is the first and most important step to being fast. If you don't have traction, it's pretty easy to lose control, so make sure to use TCS as needed and test out different settings to find the best balance of outright pace and control. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this one. I know it's been delayed by a little bit. There are some family matters I had to attend to, but there are a few more videos in the series on the way as well. Make sure to check those out, and if you want to be notified of those next videos, make sure to click that subscribe button, check on that bell icon, make sure that you are properly notified. And until next time, I hope you stay safe, live well, and have an exceptional day. Bye for now.